comics had a bad rap for years. They went, it's interesting, the history of comics, when they were first invented at the turn of the 20th century, they really were in the comic section was what sold newspaper, but in a way they were art for the illiterate masses. There were lots of immigrants, and they unified in their readership people that probably couldn't read necessarily all the other sections. But there was, the New York Times never run comics, there was a kind of snobism toward visual literature. In France, you had the Image d'Épinal, which also told the stories in pictures and captions in the 17th and 18th century, printed storytelling, pictures and caption for the illiterate, for people who couldn't get it just from the words. So that lingers, that still remains. You may have Maus and Persepolis and many books that are now taken seriously, but there's somewhere distrust. And in part, it's also the fact that for kids, they gravitate toward it. They will grab it. I've had so many so much feedback of parents who said, well, my kid was a reluctant reader, but he grabbed your books, and she grabbed your books and made their way through it on their own. So it's important to not forget, as they are now taught in universities, as they are a hip medium, as they are shown in museums, that they're also very much mediums that can appeal to children and can give them a point of entry into reading a book. What you get when you're reading a book, which is different from all of the other forms of entertainment, whether they be on your laptop or whether they be on your iPad or in a movie theater. With a book, you get a one-point perspective, and you get something that is actually stays on the page, and every time you return to it, it's always the same thing in the same place. And I think we need everything. I'm all for ebooks. We offer our books as ebooks. I think it's a great way to make somebody discover the books. But I think it's a balancing act between reaching out but also giving a book object. I think we are in the midst of an explosion, a renaissance of interest in the printed book. And considering that I do comics and cartoons and children's books, those are the ones that are flourishing nowadays, and I couldn't be happier.